Yo, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Mad Good Knicks Show. My name is Steph. This is Jay. My man TK all the way on the other side. Today we'll be talking about Knicks. What's new? We're always talking about Knicks, so it's nothing new, right, guys? One new topic that we're gonna go over today is coaching. Now, we know, obviously, whenever a team goes through various slumps, the first thing we blame is...
Coach!
Fizdale! So this segment is called Gettin Fizzy Widdit. Thank you. Yes, we were all very creative growing up, so we decided to implement that into our Mad Good Knicks show. So Gettin Fizzy Widdit. Is Fizdale in the hot seat? Jay, what do you think?
Yeah, I think he is in the hot seat. Damn, bro. Don't shower me with praise here.
You were so upfront.
Thank you.
I couldn't hold it back.
Straight to the point.
Yeah, seriously. No, I just think he is. I think in terms of rotations, when it's in the fourth quarter and we need something in terms of coaching.
He just asked if he was in the hot seat, bro. We
All
still
right.
have more questions.
All right. I'm trying to explain
Remember, 30
myself.
seconds,
Relax. You have a second question to explain yourself. Is Fizdale the hot seat?
Yes.
Absolutely. I think that was made clear when Perry and Mills came out and were like, holy shit, the ship is sinking.
It was the worst thing ever.
Yeah, his
So
job's
early
on the line.
And that was right in between two games that we did really well, so it was like sandwiched in between. It was like, what the hell was
Yeah,
this? Why
It's
did-
awkward.
Yeah, it was a white filling that didn't
Since
look
then,
so
we've
filling.
been playing pretty well. The wins don't suggest, but we've been playing.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, A for effort.
Yeah.
We've been going hard.
But what aspect of Fizdale's coaching
Especially
do you
Frank.
think makes him in the hot seat?
Frank.
Jay, I think, go ahead, continue, because you have a long list of laundry list points that you were going to say.
I just think we need to see more strategy from him, to be honest. Again, there's oftentimes, I just feel like the players, they're off to themselves. I see him engaged in the game, and he is, I think, individually coaching. But I need to see, honestly, a little bit more X's and O's, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you, bro. I'm not thrilled in the slightest by his rotation.
I can tell.
Yeah, some of those lineups that he has out there on the court at a time are just horrific.
Yeah.
You know, Dotson's been playing really well. Frank has been playing really well. They need to be out there together.
I've been saying times, why is he taking Frank out of the game?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough playing him 40 minutes a game, 48 minutes a game. That's going to be too difficult. But aside from rotation, I think his X's and O's have been horrid, especially out after a timeout, inbound plays and stuff. I think they've been an abomination.
I have a quick question, if you guys don't mind.
Go ahead.
Now, I think... I'm putting a time on it now. Oh, the pressure. No, I think it's this weird thing that we are playing much better defense than last year. I think that's clear.
Yeah.
But I think the defense at times that we are playing, at what point is it indicative that we need to change the defense, the coaching that we're having them do? I mean, you have... obviously, Mitch has foul trouble.
Yeah.
Right now, who else has foul trouble? I know it's someone else. Taj Gibson, specifically.
Yeah.
A lot of foul trouble. For the minutes that they're playing, is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
At what point do you begin to change what the defense is doing out there as well?
You know, I think that's tough. I think you're limited defensively. Steph, what do you think about that?
No, yeah. I would limited defensively, and I was gonna say that the fact that the rotations keep changing so many times throughout the season, it feels like they can never really get a grasp on their chemistry and their defensive chemistry. And on top of that, you're facing different types of teams, so it's kind of you're facing probability with probability, so you're making it very difficult to find a consistent defensive scheme.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think defense for me is all rotational.
Yeah.
You're trying to stop your man from getting to the basket and creating. I think everything happens when you attack the basket, obviously. But let's say you have Frank in the game and you have Mitch back there defensively, right? You know where the help is coming from. I know I can force my guy to the strong side and Mitch is going to be back there. You know what I mean? To be that eraser, that shot blocker. When he's in foul trouble, you have a person like Taj Gibson back there, or maybe times like Julius Randle playing the 5. That's not going to be a defensive stopper or who's going to protect the rim. You know what I mean? So you have to be a little bit more cautious, like Frank is when he doesn't have that stopper back there to kind of be more aggressive on the ball and in the passing lanes. And that's something that RJ does really well too. He's in the passing lanes. I think that has been the majority of our defense. You know what I mean? Yeah. Protecting the rim, but playing the passing lanes. So as far as fixing that, adjusting, it's hard to do when you don't have the personnel in there to do so. But I love what they're doing. I think they're building chemistry defensively.
Yeah.
It's just, unfortunately, they're not able to capitalize on the turnovers and turn them into points all the time.
Right.
And then when they do, when they get into the line, they've been missing. So, offensively is where I see the biggest struggles with Fizz.
So, do you think we're overreacting with any of this? Or do you think we are judging it correctly?
What do you, so a year and some change, what do you think?
Are we overreacting? I mean, when you add everything together, when Mills and Perry came out in that post-press conference, when you add the whole coaching aspect, I don't think we're overreacting. I don't think fans are ever going to be overreacting. Obviously, we expect a lot more out of this team thus far. And it's kind of hard to set a limit on how Knicks fans can overreact.
Yeah.
Like, what's too much for us overreacting, right?
Yeah.
How much worse can it
It's a
get?
shame. I just feel like it's a shame that the coach is always the first scapegoat.
Yeah,
For
I agree.
everything.
And
The
it never used to
players
be like that.
continue, Yeah, the players continue to speak with a lot of respect about
Yeah.
Fizz. So if he is on the way out or anything of that nature, which I hope he's not at this moment, because I don't think we have a better replacement for him at this moment. Yeah.
I would just say this. I think we're overreacting, honestly, guys, because we're 10 games into the season. We were 10 games into the season before they came out and hit like the emergency button, right? I think it would be unfair for any team full of 10 new guys to gel that quickly and expect a
Even with some
pile of
injuries as
wins.
well.
They've played well in those 10 games.
Well,
They've played well in those 10 games, despite the win-loss. They were 2-8,
Right.
but the wins didn't, obviously the record wasn't what we thought it was. But that's one. Two, you got to understand, Fizdale signed up, right, to coach KP.
Right.
And he hasn't been able to do so.
He had a different
Correct.
job.
Yeah.
So it's really unfortunate
shame.
that we're judging him based on something he never signed
Right.
up for in the beginning.
Right.
So I do think we are overreacting a little bit. We need to give a healthy 40 game dosage of this before I'm willing to be like, okay, Fizdale is not the guy.
Yeah.
And like you said, Jay, they are speaking very highly of him.
Yeah.
So that's important to me. He hasn't lost the locker room.
No,
Yeah.
That's
not at all.
important.
Not at all.
So to that point, what do you think Fizdale needs to do going forward?
Get the rotations going, solidify that, and
Rhythm and consistency.
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah.
you need to stop what you're doing, especially when you're preaching a certain message. Stay consistent with it.
Yeah.
That's it. It's like day and night, consistent.
Yeah, I genuinely feel bad for the guy. Like you said, he was given one job. Everything crumbled in front of his eyes. Poor man, he's just like, what the hell was I left with?
Yeah.
But that's just the way the cookie crumbles, unfortunately. So that pretty much does it for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for
today.
getting fizzy with it.
For today,
done?
tonight, but whatever.
For right now. For right now.
For right
They
now.
got more coming. Leave a comment below if you have anything to add. This is the Mad Good Knicks Show.
holla at your boy.
What is up, Mad Good family? We're here for another segment with my boys TK and Jay to talk about the very unfortunate press conference we had a little while back, the Mills-Perry presser, the one, after that Cavs blowout, when they had to go out and say a few things. So we're going to be talking about that, whether it was the right thing to do and what the impact has been on the Knicks. So, Jay, I'm not going to start with you. I'm going to start with TK. I don't know why I had to point that out. TK, what do you think about it?
I thought it was very unfortunate, and it came at a horrible time. I know that Mills has liked to
I don't think
preach
there's ever a good
this.
time for that.
It's funny, that's what my mom said about me when I was born.
He came at an unfortunate time. Damn, I'm sorry to hear that, man. Hope your life is much better now. But yeah,
I'm a
Mills
Knicks
likes
fan,
to.
you tell me.
Not too great.
Sorry.
Mills likes to go by these 10-game spans, and I understand it because I think we all like to go by certain set of increments.
Sure.
But to publicly announce that they're not happy, I think was a little bit of an overreaction. I kind of stated that earlier. But dude, it's just not fair to throw your coach under the bus that early. And I think the repercussions of it, the players have played harder for Fizdale, but Fizdale looks more lost, more confused. And I say more confused by his lineups. He's just throwing out whatever works. Whatever works, he's sticking to it. There doesn't seem to be a formula to it.
It's so great that you pointed that out, and Jay, I'm going to let you answer. I just want to respond to TK's point, and I think I've noticed the lineup changes where he's playing the younger guys a little bit less and the veterans a little bit more. And I feel like the reason for that is he just wants wins under his belt. It's not about player development
he needs
anymore.
it. We need
It's
it.
like, damn, we just can't look that bad anymore. But that's that wasn't the original plan. That wasn't a development plan. So right now he's kind of in between the rock and the hard place. But Jay, I'm gonna let you answer before I give my two piece.
Well, I gotta say our plan was completely different.
Yeah.
Originally going into this season. Either way, let's just toss that to the side.
Okay.
The perception now, even around the league, when you hear of other executives saying like, you shouldn't be seeing this right now. I think that's
unprecedented.
Yeah, that just speaks about the status of this house, this brand that is the New York Knicks right now. Overall, to me, it's just disappointing. Again, personally, all I see out there is these guys working hard, doing what they need to do. Honestly, they were amazing, especially tonight against the Mavericks and whatnot.
Yes.
Yeah.
They've been making
was a
such a
great game.
comeback. Again, just keep doing what you guys are doing best. There's only so much you can do. So just keep going hard.
Most definitely.
Yeah, I agree with all the points you guys said. Now, this is one of those difficult ones for me to talk about because I know like one of the commandments of MSG and the Knicks is thou shalt not take thy owner's name in vain. So I'm going to stay away from that. But I want to say like the whole thing felt like a little bit of a spectacle from the...
Yeah, right?
James Dolan.
Oh, gotcha. Gotcha.
Owner? Anyway, what I want to say was like the whole thing felt like a very like surreal, weird sort of thing where I felt like Fizdale was completely undercut and I felt like Mills and Perry were doing a little bit of like cover your ass there. My sense and my speculation here is that like James Dolan, who has the product he's trying to sell, felt like he wasn't getting his money's worth 10 games in.
So you mean besides his album, right?
And I think he put a lot of pressure on Mills and Perry, and Mills and Perry kind of felt like they needed to make a public statement. Now, did they throw Fizdale under the bus? Like, not directly, but indirectly, it was like, well, okay, then who are they blaming, you know? Like, we're not happy with the performance. We're not happy with this. Like,
They weren't blaming the players.
they weren't blaming the players, and I felt like they threw Fizdale a little bit under the bus to cover their asses and give themselves a little more time to kind of like see how this pans out.
Yeah.
And I felt like that put Fizdale in an awkward position. You saw the day after when they were interviewing him, he seemed completely dejected. Yeah, 100%. So I feel like now Fizdale is kind of between a rock and a hard place. Am I playing for my future? Am I playing to develop the young core? Am I playing just to get wins so these guys get off my back? And it further puts us back into the situation where it's like, what's the culture in New York Knicks? Like, it seems like, again, we're on different pages, except this time, which is good, I think the coach and the players are on the same page.
Yes.
Whereas before with
They
Hornacek
look in sync and unified.
and Hornacek, it wasn't necessarily the case. Now, just generally speaking, how does this reflect on the Knicks as an organization? I think you touched on that a little bit, saying it made us look bad. I totally agree. I think it's just such a bad look. But, TK, how do you feel about it?
It's interesting because I am happy, I'm elated that the locker room hasn't been fractured. Right?
Yes.
Fizdale has been preaching, Marcus Morris is our leader, XYZ. Marcus Morris has been reciprocating the same thing. Fizz is our guy. He's doing this, he's doing that for us. All that lip service is great and all. You know what I mean? I don't think you can ever have a conducive working environment if the head coach and the players aren't on the same page. But we're not seeing it translate into wins per se. The timer is off. So if you understand what I'm saying, inside joke, guys. But I don't feel too happy about it. You know? But I am glad that they're on the same page. Really quick, if you guys remember when Fizdale made that announcement about RJ playing too many minutes, this and that's nonsense, whatever. I gotta be frank with you. RJ hasn't played that well since that comment. He's been playing below his average.
That's a good point.
When he made that comment, he was averaging 18. He's now averaging 14 point something. Just a small minor wrinkle, but he hasn't been playing up to his capabilities.
True. Not to mention RJ was, just kind of witnessed his first like Knicksism.
Yeah.
He's probably like, whoa, what the hell is going on? It's like, you know where you're at now, buddy.
I don't know. I think it's part of the rookie experience. There's going to
Yeah,
be
he's gonna
peaks
a
and
little bit,
valleys,
yeah.
and it's going to be a nice little roller coaster. He's going to hit the rookie wall that we all know. It's kind of like the Great Wall and whatever.
The Great Wall. Yeah.
The Great Wall. Build that wall.
I
JK.
think none of us were too thrilled with it.
Take that wall down.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, what else is there to say? Mills, Perry, nice
don't
presser.
nick it up.
But that's been it for this segment, guys. So catch us on the next one. Peace.
All right, guys, so we're back for another segment. You already know who this is. Steph, Pete, Jay.
That's right.
All right, so let's get right into it. Starting lineup. Yeah, I don't waste any time. Starting lineup. No foreplay. Starting lineup. Should this be...
No, seriously, I don't waste time.
No, for real.
Damn.
Is this lineup the lineup
Here we go.
we should keep for the
That's why we can't film shows at 4 in the morning.
for the entire season?
Oh,
The
yeah.
current lineup that we're seeing right now.
Yes.
Automatically? Goddamn.
Oh, sorry.
Really?
That was a question? What would you ask?
Dude,
All right.
this current lineup, do you
Okay.
think we should be keeping this for the entire season right now?
I was actually wondering that because I was telling myself, like, I don't like Fizz's lineups, but then I realized, like, do I actually know what I need to know about these lineups? So I did a little
Okay.
research, right?
Let's see.
Wow.
What you got?
So-
What you got?
The current lineup right now that we're looking at has been playing, the current starting lineup has been playing for the past 7 games. So we're
Okay.
talking Frank, RJ, Morris, Randall, Gibson. They've started the last 7 games for us.
Yeah.
So this been a stretch of, like, decent games we've had has been them. That startup has played the most minutes of any other lineup. They played 103 minutes. The next best lineup is only 53 minutes
Due
so
to
far this
injury
season.
as well
right?
for some players.
They have one of the highest offensive ratings of the lineups that have played a significant amount of minutes. 116.7. The next one is 79.3. There's a 132 there, but they've only played 27 minutes. Their defensive rating isn't as good, but I was actually surprised to see that. And I think part of the reason is that Taj Gibson does things that Randall and Mitch aren't ready to do yet. He plays like a veteran.
What do
Taj
you mean?
Gibson isn't playing like one of the veterans playing for a check. He's playing team basketball. Randall and Morris have moments where you're like,
Well, there's a lot of isolation.
Yes.
Especially when the ball goes to Morris. And I'm a big Morris fan right now.
mhm.
But there's a lot of isolation. Randall has trouble double just passing out of the double team.
Yes, he does.
No, it's just something off camera. We love the jokes going. You know what I mean?
No.
It's part of a fun
They're
set.
inside
All
and
right.
out jokes. Yeah.
Sure. But with Morris and with Randall, there comes the isolation.
Yeah.
So that's an issue there.
That's a
Yeah.
major issue. I think that's one of the major issues, and actually one of the keys if we were going to do the 3 keys to success. One of my keys was eliminating like ISO plays in tight situations. I think that cost us the game recently against. What did we play? We just lost the game. Philly. We were competitive all
love
game
it when
long
people
with
answer
ball
their own
movement and
questions.
defense.
Yeah. They're too
But
smart.
towards the end, you saw Marcus Morris and Randall have some slip ups because they held on to the ball.
Yeah.
And I noticed that with the Knicks a lot. Is that in tight situations, close games, clutch moments, we go away from what was working for us the whole
Yeah.
game. And what I wanted to do was create a lineup that kind of addressed that to some degree. What I found depressing to me is honestly the lineup I chose for me
Is the current start?
it was Frank, RJ,
Okay.
Marcus,
Yeah.
Randall, Robinson. Seems fair. That lineup has one of the worst offensive ratings of all the lineups we played. Like, they just weren't getting done. Sure, it's like a small sample size, 39 minutes in the season. But to me, it was like a matter of balancing, like, do we want wins
why.
or do we want
know
player
why.
development? And I try to come up with a lineup that kind of balance those two. This is going to give us enough firepower to win, but I also want Mitch in the game. I want to give Knox some playing time. Knox deserves more playing time. Dotson deserves more playing time.
Yeah,
Jesus H.
you're-
Christ. Damian Dotson, man.
Yeah.
Why did it take Fizz?
But we knew this. Signing all these veterans, we're going to be taking minutes away from other players that
Yeah.
can contribute a lot to these games.
So who do you think should play more or play less?
I'm a big fan of Alfred. I want to see a lot of Alfred.
He's part of some of the lineups with more impressive ratings.
Yeah.
Offensively and defensively. The best defensive lineup we have includes him, weirdly enough.
Yeah, but he's injured now, so you know we can't.
He's
really,
injured. Yeah, just get him
yeah,
outta here.
I mean,
Get him outta
that's
here.
just not like what we got to talk about right now. We got to talk about realistic type of shit. Yeah,
a long
Michael
season.
Jordan would be fantastic in this lineup
In his prime.
in his prime,
Honestly, I'll even take Wizard Jordan.
but I don't think he'd be interested right now.
That's some magic.
That's just one of the reasons. Anyway, what I was going to say about that lineup, actually, it's to no surprise that the offensive rating is a little low. Because Frank, first of all, Frank up until like 2 games ago when he
Looks
went nuts
really
and ballistic.
confident.
Yeah, but up until that
And
point,
silky smooth.
up until that point,
Step
he
back
was
check.
the point guard, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't usually
And
compliment.
he was like the kind of like
Killer.
point guard to the side where Julius Randle was the one taking the ball up, right? So you had kind of like a mix of players there.
fair
2
enough.
lineups that I thought were very interesting. And they've only played 8 minutes together this season due to injuries. Gibson, Morris, Randall, DSJ, and RJ. Can you believe they only played for 8 minutes that entire season due to injuries? That's very interesting. Also, the second lineup, they've only played for 1 minute. Portis, Morris, Randall, DSJ, and RJ Barrett. What's the common denominator here? DSJ. If Fizz starts implementing DSJ with some of the bigs there and starts filling out some of those rotations, I wouldn't be mad. Because we want to have a designated point guard, playmaker. We don't want to have a Frank Ntilikina. Of course, he's ups and downs. He's fantastic. Oh, now we all love him as Knicks fans, but up until 5 games ago, we're like, get him the hell out of here, right? So I don't want to be in that type of boat where we're here and there. I want a playmaker, a point guard. DSJ is the one for the job so far on the Knicks, and I wanted to see him mixed with some of those veterans. Who knows? Maybe it could be something.
And he's actually been impactful. I know he had trouble this season. Starting the season, he was terrible, and then he had like the issue with his stepmom, unfortunately. But he came back and looks. I'm not gonna say a completely different person, but he looks serviceable. He's doing things, you know, and he's actually part of the one of the things that worked for us in Philly is like we actually had balanced scoring across the board. It wasn't like a few guys that had all the points. It was like
the ball.
12, 10, 10,
When
8,
there's no
7,
ISO
6,
ball.
like the, you know,
That's
exactly.
what happens, baby.
Exactly. And I think DSJ could be part of
That's
that.
how we ended up losing when we stopped doing that.
Yeah.
If you
I
ever
think
stop
DSJ
listening to Fizz, listen to Mad Good, all right?
I think DSJ can be part of that equation. So to summarize it, like we like the current lineup of the past 7 games. Not bad because it's playing well. But we want to see Dotson. We want to see Knox. Those kind of guys get more playing time. You'd like to see Elfrid Payton get some playing time.
Yeah, when healthy.
And I'm assuming this is at the behest of Randall and Morris maybe taking a little bump in minutes. You guys okay with that? It would need to be
I'll
somebody.
I don't know. We gotta look at where we.
Especially part of the organization.
This segment. This was the
Yeah,
segment
look
you
at
were
this
supposed to look.
category.
Anyway, guys. We know what the Mad Good Knicks Show starting lineup is, and that's all that matters. But we want you to tell us what do you think the starting lineup should be? Have you liked the starting lineup the last 7 days? They've been playing pretty well, playing pretty good team defense too. That's been us, the fans. But there's some other lineups that do okay. Who do you think should get more playing time? Who do you think should get less? I know some of you fans. I already know who should get less based on some of your tweets. So keep them coming. Let us know in the comments, and see you on the next one.
Ciao.
Peace.